Hello, hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. Today, our guest is Georgina Halabi, and we will speak about intuition versus logic and explore your whole mind. It is an interesting topic because sometimes people make decisions only based on logic, what they already know, what they know that will work. And some people make their decisions on intuition, yes, on that feeling which we have in gut feeling, which has that whisper, tiny noise, yes, voice. So we will speak about this more detailedly, and Georgina here is to share her wisdom and knowledge in exploration of the whole mind. Hi, Georgina.
Hi, Elena.
I am so happy to see you today on our podcast. Thank you for being here.
A pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. Please tell us a little bit about you, what you do, and how you came to your passion, how you helping people.
Okay. I'm a performance and well-being coach, and I'm based in the UK. And before that, I used to work in marketing and advertising and technology. And it's always been very important for me to use both logic and intuition. And if I can share my own story of maybe why this subject is so dear to me, it's because from a very young age, I started to use my intuition. So at the age of 16, I tried meditation for the first time. And I discovered that when you go inwards and you ask the right questions, you have all the answers available. So you talked about that quiet whisper of wisdom. That was always something that I would tap into. I was also able to try and do things instinctively or using my intuition, and it was very strong. I would trust it. I still trust it a lot. Even things like hypnotherapy, I started to try it at 16. I could do it easily. I didn't know how, I trusted, and it's like it would come through me. Um, then, when I was about 28 years old, I had hypnotherapy done to me by somebody training, and they did a past life regression. I wasn't expecting it, and I went to a place of trauma, and everything shut down. I couldn't trust my instincts, I couldn't trust my intuition. And so, for many, many years, logic for me was my key to understanding. I could still meditate, still get that quiet voice, but my intuition was like it was switched off. I couldn't trust it. And it took me maybe 15 years until I got it back. In that time, I wanted to be able to do all of those things that I had. I signed up for Buddhism. I went and I studied Buddhism for 4 years, and they are very much logic based. You know, they're the study of the mind from inside. And that was wonderful. And I guess going through this experience now, allows me in my coaching to speak to business people who don't trust themselves, they don't trust their emotions, they may default to hyperlogic, or on the other extreme, people who are so very emotional that they don't trust their logic, they are disconnected, they're two extremes. And so now I'm back with both. I've got the experience of exploring purely logic, purely intuition, and it's given me an avenue to, I guess, explain how those two worlds collide.
Yeah, that is very interesting because our audience are driven business owners and entrepreneurs, and I'm sure that they can find themselves in what you just explained. Some are very logical and they have to know exactly how they are going to and do things. And they know that with this mindset, they lose so many opportunities. Is when people focus on being secured, that everything is certain, it means that a lot of opportunities passing by, and we usually cannot achieve big change. We cannot achieve big goals which are much different from what we have now if we come in from logic, because it is living in the past more than living in the future, because we let our past experiences and current results to dictate our future plans, and this is what makes it very slow. Yes, and people can feel that they have ability to do more, but because of this perception which they have for life, they slow down themselves a lot.
Yes, they are reacting. And I also think that anxiety about the future also holds them back. So fear of speaking up, speaking out. People often play small because they're worried about what other people will think of them or consequences of certain behavior. So they don't trust themselves. You can overthink. Logic can also paralyze by thinking forward, future behavior. Yeah.
Yes, also it relates to indecision or procrastination. It's because if they're not sure how to do things, they say, okay, I don't know, maybe it will not work, I better postpone it. And this is again what keeps business back.
100%. You know, this weekend I was driving in a car park that was very narrow. So, you know, when you go up the ramp or down the ramp, it was very narrow. And I didn't think about it. I just went wide and I went down. And my car sensors were going beep, beep, beep. There were centimeters either side. And I got down the ramp, no problem. But if I'd have thought about it, and tried to go on logic, I would have been there for 20 minutes panicking. And it's the same, you know, sometimes when you think afterwards, oh, I should have trusted my gut with that conversation or that decision. When we overthink it, it gets in our way. Yeah.
Yes, right. And on the other hand, there are entrepreneurs who are very emotional. Yes, they have idea or hear idea and they just jump on it without even thinking much. Yes, and that also being emotional and reacting without contemplating on the idea also is another extreme. So let's speak today how to find that balance, how to find that golden middle.
Yeah, as you say that, Elena, it reminds me of something that I learned in my Buddhist course. You know, you talk about heart and mind, and they say if it's too much mind, too much logic, everything is very dry and brittle. If it's too much heart, then it's too fiery and too volatile. And so that's why you need to use both. You need to access head and heart, logic and intuition.
Yes, like everything in life, we have to find that golden middle. Even
Mm.
in our emotions, we shouldn't be very excited when we find something or when we win something and we just out of joy and very excited. And then if we lose something, we get so down and then we it is difficult for to get back again to normal. So it is always good to be balancing somewhere, to be in that harmony, and because it is always like the law of opposites. If we get too much excited, the law of opposite means that we will get also too much down. So if we are somewhere in the middle,
Yeah.
excited, yes, get happy, but still somewhere balancing, it will help us to live live more balanced harmonic life.
Yeah. Um, it sounds and feels very much like attachment and resistance. So we judge everything as good or bad. If it's good, we want more of it, right? We fixate on it, and that becomes a source of our happiness in our own minds. Whereas if we don't want something, we push it away. We spend our lives trying to avoid it, even at an unconscious level. And that could be anything from conflict to situations. And so, what I like about, and we are both positive intelligence coaches and trainers, right, Elena? What I like about that is the very first thing they focus on is judgment, how we judge everything, and to be aware of that narrative inside our own mind and not fix on this is good, this is bad, but to have, as you say, balance. And that doesn't mean that we can't have focus and want something and be good at what we do. The thing is, our identity and our happiness isn't tied into just getting it. Yeah.
Yes, and this is interesting what you just mentioned. Even our attitude towards what is good or what is bad is just our attitude. It is not the truth that something that we think is bad is bad. It
Yeah.
is just our perception. And in many cases, something that we can consider bad can be good for us. Because what we think bad, maybe because we don't like that, but maybe that is exactly what we have to do in order to grow. Yes, so what decides in us, is it good or bad? It is our future self or our just comfort zone, our former self, which is just comfortable, and it says why I have to go out to uncomfort. That is better to make it cliche like it is bad. Yes, and many things in our life that happen when we are in the middle of it, of that situation, we can go through challenges and think that this is bad, I didn't like this to happen. But when we go through it, and like some years later, when we look back, we can see so good that it happened, because in that situation I just open my eyes to something. Yeah, I just grow myself, like from the perception, like point of view, like awareness. Yeah, my awareness grew, my conscious grew. Now I am a different person, and now I achieved so much because of that situation in the past, which shaken me, awakened me, and pushed me to something different. Yeah,
Yeah.
because many people just stay in this hypnotic state, like Napoleon Hill said in one of my favorite books, Outwitting the Devil. And he said that people are living like in sleeping mode, like hypnotized, and they think that they live, but they are hypnotized, they're not awake. And sometimes those situations we think bad are exactly those situations which we need to waken up. And then we say, thank you so much that it happened. Otherwise, I would continue being walking sleepy till
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It's like that Rolling Stones song. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. And I think you raised a really good question earlier, Elena, when you asked, what is it that creates the judgment in our mind of good or bad? Um, and tying it back to logic and intuition, what do you think it is?
What creates a good or bad? It is our paradigms. This is just how our beliefs, what we were told that is right or good, our background, because we all make our decisions, and our habits also are formed with those paradigms, those beliefs, habits, our routines, and this is what is reaction first. Something can come as a reaction even without us thinking. We can just react, oh, this is bad. And then we can think and say, stop for a minute. Is it really bad? Or is it just, I thought it was bad, but let's see, maybe something good is in this situation. It's because we always can find something good in everything bad. So different people can look at the same situation, and for someone they will see good and some will see bad, right? So it is not about the situation itself, but it is about our about us, who we are. It is who we see us as, like our identity, yes, and different situations in the past. So it is always good to look at things from different perceptions. Yes, and what that person would say, or what that person would say about this. And when we even start thinking from different perceptions, we can have such a bigger view and everything.
I think you put that really beautifully. We are always projecting our conditioning onto the world and thinking that that is what reality is. And the best thing that we can do to help people is to help them step away and question and to look. And when you step away and you look at something and go, it's not necessarily bad or good, it's neither, but my relationship to it is based on these thoughts, right? Then you create choice. Is this helping me? Is it not helping me? If it's not helping me, how can I look at things differently? Yeah.
Yes, and what they can change. For example, if you don't like people or they did something wrong, people who like communicated, then we can ask question. It is not about those people, about me, because I am the cause of everything, and everything else is just effect, right? According to the law of cause and effect. So if I don't like that, but I became the cause, why these people are in my life? Yes, so maybe I have to be more conscious which people I bring to my life. Yes, so not to have such situations in the future. So we can learn from everything, and instead of just thinking this is bad, we can ask question, what is good in this situation? What lesson I can get from this situation to improve, to grow myself, and also to improve my environment.
And to not make it worse as well is the immediate thing. Because if you look at cause and effect, a lot of the time, what we are experiencing is the effect of things that we've caused. So the Buddhists would, consider that a karmic rebound. So, for example, if you've got an angry boss or an irritating boss, that boss might not be irritating to your colleague. He might not be an irritating boss to his children. There is no irritating boss coming from his side, but somehow we're experiencing it. And maybe the reason we're experiencing it, if you understand cause and effect, is that we've created that by being irritating to someone or in some other situation, and it's coming back to us. So the very first thing that we can choose is not to react, right? Don't create more karma that's going to come back to us. And then it's even more powerful when you could start to take radical responsibility. I go, okay, what can I do to shift this so that, the irritatingness disappears and it's replaced by something else? Yeah.
Yes, and if it is angry boss, doesn't mean that you have to be angry or react. You can be still smiling and be kind, and you see the difference in that boss.
Mm.
He cannot be angry with you if you are in a beautiful love energy and smiling, or at least like not, of course, laughing, but when he is angry. But just not react to that and just send love and just understand that just from compassion. Maybe he has some reasons, yeah. So when you see that person, even if he's angry, but you see him as a very loving person, just to experiment that, you will see the difference. And you reminded me about very interesting situation which happened when I was in Iran, studying in university. And a very interesting situation happened. Then my classmates told me uh, one day uh, the lecture was very came, and some people came late to the class, and he was very like very angry, and he said, "Oh, you are not going." Like he started saying, like, "Oh, if you don't get on time, you will be punished. Nobody can come after like this time." And then they say, and then the door opens, and you coming in with big smile, relaxing, and the teacher smiles and says, "Yes, welcome, please." And they say it was such a just, he was angry, and when you just opened the door and came with big smile and said hello. And he just also starts smiling and tell welcome Hanuma Elena, like Elena, like ma'am. Yes. So it was really example that we can change people with who we are, with our inner world. It is like ripple, it has ripple effect. Our energy is not only within us. Our energy can be so big. Our energy can just go and like just have ripple effect to all the world. This is why it is so exciting to see people who have big dreams and who have big missions, who say that my mission is to inspire 100 million entrepreneurs or something, because it is really so. If you believe that you can do that, you will be given that energy which will start influencing and impacting people's lives. This is what we're all here for.
Beautiful. And I love that story of walking into the room and changing everything. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So let's get back to our topic.
Mm.
And please share about from your experience, how did you found that golden middle? How to be not too much in logic and not also too much in emotions?
I need to think of this, funnily enough, and also feel my way into it because I think sometimes logic can apply. So, for example, if you're looking at strategy, if you're looking at how and where you're spending your time, it's a lot more logical, right? Um, you need to apply commercial strategies, right? But other times, and especially when it comes to people, then emotional intelligence applies a lot more. Um, for me, what I do every morning is I sit down and I meditate, and any questions that I may have, I go in and I listen to the answer. I don't think the answer, I ask the question and I listen. I don't know if that will be intuition or logic supplying it, but it's always the best answer for me. And then as I go through the day, I will apply either logic or emotions. I think I'm so used to having both. I would never react in an emotional way to a business decision. Um, yeah, do you know, this is so instinctive for me that I don't think I separate it out. I think that when I'm too much on one side or too much on the other, I feel out of balance. I know it, right? I feel it. Yeah.
Mhm.
What about you?
I am very intuitive person. Yes, I'm very intuitive person, and I discovered that power of intuition even long ago before I started personal development. And I had a lot of really big challenges in life since childhood. I grew up in Ukraine. It was former Soviet Union, and it was so many challenges. And the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. That a lot of changes happened. And I also in 2014 the war started with Russia. I had to move my family out of Ukraine because we just lived near the border with Russia. And in many cases, I was taking responsibility without having any way, like no way how to do that. But I knew that this is the right way. For example, in 2014, I had to move my family to Cyprus. I didn't have income, I didn't have savings, but I knew that we have to move. So I had some money and I just went to unknown. and I figured it out. Also, when my daughter was 2 years old, I divorced with my husband. I had no business, no income, and I decided to go to Malaysia to market devices, which electromagnetic wave devices therapy, which helping people prevent diseases by electromagnetic waves. And I was so excited to found these devices. They just were new technology, and I thought, wow, now people can live without chemical drugs, without like medicine, just using these devices, electricity. And I took my small daughter and I decided that I will go to Malaysia. I just looked at the map and I thought where I want to go. Where is the good market for medical devices? And I found out that Malaysia was very good for network marketing, for medical devices. And I just decided to go there. I had nobody there, had nobody, no income. I just sold my little bit land, I remember, for $7,000, and I took my daughter and went to Malaysia. and just came there. I had nobody there. I just asked what is the nearest hotel just to sleep because I didn't sleep all night. It was long flight, and then I woke up and figured out how I will live, and I became successful there. So it was in my life so many cases when there was no way to do this. And people who would look at me, they would say, like, she's crazy. What is she doing? Like, but somehow, because I lived in that environment, closed environment, and for me, it was no way that I want to stay there in that close environment and not having any opportunities. I would rather risk, but get myself out, just get some like to the space where I can find opportunities. And I was finding those opportunities because I was eager to work hard. I was eager to do whatever it take, but to take me out of that closet environment with no way to live as I thought I have to live. And my life can be very big, like book, if I put all my stories there. But just shortly, I tell you that I always had that voice, like it is going to be okay.
Yeah.
It was going to be okay. Like even again in 2022, when again this war started recent with bigger scale, again I had to take my daughter, my mother out of Ukraine because it just was 2 kilometers far from our house. The airport was bombed. This is how the war started on 24 February. And again, I was in the same situation. We had to quit everything, leave everything behind, and just documents, couple of clothes we took, and we didn't know where we are going. And now I'm here in Brighton and having business and everything set. So it is always like I had this inner voice which was telling, just go for it, everything will be right, everything will be okay. And this is what I taught my family. When I made decision, I said them everything is going to be right. But I didn't know where we are going, how I am going to manage this. But somehow I knew that the God will take care of me. There is the somehow faith. I had always faith, and I believed also in myself that I can figure it out. And when we have this belief, and when we take bold actions, when we don't look back, but we know what we want, take actions one after at the time, and this is how we build our success.
Mm. I acknowledge you, Elena, and your extraordinary story. And also, this when you go in, you have that faith, you have that voice inside that says, trust yourself, you've got this, you're fine. I feel and hear that voice every single time I go in and meditate. And it inspires me to be brave or to do things that otherwise might seem crazy, like you say, that work out really, really well. Yeah.
Yes, when I look back at my life, it is just unbelievable what I was doing. How I can't even now, when I look back, I see how I could do that. It is just really so, like for many people, they would say it is impossible. It is impossible just to take, I don't remember when my daughter was 1 year old or just very, just infant, infant and going nowhere, having nobody, even just having no support because we didn't have relatives. I
Mm.
mean, I was when Soviet Union collapsed, I first time I experienced really fear and uncertainty, and because my father was a scientist, and after Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, nobody cared about science. There was no budget for science because there was no even money. Every money was like belonged to Soviet Union. So where there was no Soviet Union, we received papers. Just literally like papers like these coupons, and we were changing coupons for some food. And there were days when we were really hungry, no, we had no food. And my father was going to encourage a scientist because he was working in Academy of Science, and he was going every day just to lift their spirit up. and all these scientists with such amazing technologies, inventions. And that time there was no internet. They didn't know how to give this knowledge to the world, what they had. A lot of patents, a lot of such amazing inventions, and they were going without any payment. And my father was going every day and didn't make any money for years. I mean, maybe 2 years. And I understood that there is nobody I can ask for help, so it is only me who I have rely on, and this is me who have to take responsibility for all my family. And this is what I did, and this is how I started taking every action I just could to get myself out of that situation, and of course bring my family. And this is exactly happened again in like 2022, with this very scary situation, which we had to make decision, and we left Ukraine in one day without any preparation. We just collected. I said half an hour we have to go, and we went.
And as you look at all of these times where you've had these big changes and you've acted on it, Malaysia, Ukraine, what would be the balance in your mind between intuition and logic?
I would say that always follow intuition, but intuition, it is not emotions. Yes, it is a very big difference. Intuition is not emotions. Intuition is the high mental faculty. We have high mental faculty such as reason. Yeah, we have ability to reason. We have imagination. We have will. We have perception, and we have intuition. And intuition is one of these highest faculties which we have, and it always right. If you start listening to it, initially it will be very tiny whisper because you lived so much in logic, and your logic is very strong now, and it just every time it just pull you like for those puppet, yes. And you just conditioned. This is how we condition to live.
Yeah.
But some, and we now many people are totally disconnected from God. Many people don't even understand that they have spiritual needs, but they're so much attached to this physical 3D reality and to all this logic and know how to do things, that they forgot even how to dream. With many people was dreaming when they were small children before they went to school, and then they were told that sit, why you looking, where you dreaming, just listen to the teacher, right, and say, listen what I tell you, you should be logical, you should know how to do things. And this is how we forgot how to dream, and we forgot also how to use intuition, because intuition, imagination, right? People also don't imagine much. They just even find difficult to visualize things, because now everything is already like mobiles, computers that don't even, now people don't even read. At least when they read, they can use imagination to imagine what they're reading. But now they just watch movies, everything on mobiles, and that also is cut.
Yeah.
Like imagination, many people find it difficult to imagine something, of course, because it is like a muscles, yeah, mental muscles. If we don't use them, they become weak. And exactly about intuition,
I
that
agree with you about intuition. We have to use it as a muscle, but I don't,
Mhm.
I have a different view on imagination. I think we're constantly using imagination, but in ways that we don't think or that we don't realize. So, as a hypnotherapist, we look at how people hallucinate realities. And we're talking about perception, life as a perception of our judgments, right? But even people who walk into a room and they go, oh, that shouldn't be there. It should be over here. That's imagination. Every single time we think this person is going to judge us if we talk out, that's imagination. It's not fact. So often our imagination isn't working for us, it's working against us. And we think we have no imagination, but we are imagining, hallucinating our reality all the time. Yeah.
Yes, yes, you're right. What I wanted to say that it was more about visualization. Sometimes people find difficult to visualize what they want to visualize. It is difficult for them to keep their mind on something. They get so fast distracted, and it is difficult for them to visualize. Or how can I visualize if I don't see that? I have to see. So they used to see things instead of create things from visualizing first and creating things. They mostly react, and this is how they live. And you said right, yes, that imagining people most use against them. They in initially like reaction is to think negative and imagining something bad happening. And if they want to imagine something good happening, they have to put effort to that. But it is not like automatically it happens more that they imagine bad things, and then they have, oh, I have to think positive, and then they start imagining positive things. So it is again like muscles. Yes, they
Yeah.
have to be conscious about imagining good things and conscious about thinking what they want instead of thinking what they don't want. Because again, reaction thing is thinking automatically what you don't want. For example, somebody lost mobile, let's say, and automatically he will start saying, oh, I lost mobile, my all cards, my all application, what will I do? But another thought is, I lost mobile. There are so many good people in the world. Now somebody will find my mobile, and I will call my mobile in a while, and I will get my mobile. This exact situation happened. I tell you from real situation. We were in Paris with my friend and he lost mobile, and this is exactly scenario how it happened. Initially he got panicking and start saying what I will do. Everything is there, mobile, all my cards. I said, sit down, sit down. Now your mobile will be found, like a magician. And then I said, there are many people in the world, good people. So now somebody will find your mobile. This is exactly what happened. We called in few minutes and somebody picked up and gave him mobile back. So what I mean that we have to learn how to think what we want. Yes, like what outcome from every situation we want, instead of just being hijacked by negative emotions, which can be pull us so down.
And what you're describing there, as we think about what we want, it's the same approach that you use or that people use in so many different disciplines, from hypnotherapy to cognitive behavioral therapy to applied meditation to mental fitness training, which is what we do. And that's pattern interrupt, right? So at its simplest, we have a thought, and that thought creates an emotion, and we respond to it, and that creates our outcomes. And as a hypnotherapist, you can see people visualizing it. They might be having a thought, and you can see them maybe expressing it on their visual field, maybe a foot away from their face, and it's in color and it's big and it's happening to them. They are in the middle of it and they're reacting. You can see it. So you do a pattern interrupt with hypnotherapy by going, not that, this. You'd give them a different image to focus on. In mindfulness training, you'd notice, for example, whenever you would have a negative thought, and you would say, not that, this, and you would replace it with, if I had this more empowering thought and I created that behavior, how different would my outcome be? So, in all of those, we are moving from a mental reactive, negative space into taking a step back and changing it. And the more we're able to change it, the more control we have over our life, the more uh, we are able to show up in a different way, like you did. If you'd have panicked and you'd have gone to hopelessness, if your father had shown up in a way that wasn't so fully for other people, the outcomes would have been very, very different, right? So you
Yeah.
take the best of your thoughts and you invest in them, and you believe that you have choice. But all it takes is becoming aware, taking a step back. You're not your thoughts. As you say, it's not emotions. You're not your emotions. Your emotions are a reaction to your thoughts. So take a step back and watch it, pattern interrupt. Yeah. And that's where I think right and left brain, they come to the same conclusion, right? Some of us do it instinctively. And other ways you can choose your executive function to turn around and say, let's analyze this. Is this working for me? No, let's change it. Yes, it is. Let's invest in it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Georgina, would you like to share some tips for business owners, entrepreneurs who have big goals and have those maybe extreme, somebody in left brain, somebody in right brain, how they can be more balanced and achieve their goals with positive energy, without sabotaging themselves, without feeling shame or guilt, or maybe that they can be happy only when they achieve something which they didn't yet.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. And maybe I can put it in terms of positive intelligence, which we both are trained at, right? So when we are reactive, when we are negative, we are using a part of our brain. It tends to be our logical side, our left side, and the back of our brain, which is where all of our preconditioning lives. And we will normally react to things. We will feel negative emotions, anxiety, stress, anger, right? And our ego will step in and we will react. Whereas if we are inhabiting the front of our brain, which is our prefrontal cortex, in mental fitness, we call it our sage brain, that is a part of the brain where we cannot think negatively. Literally, we cannot think negatively. It's the space of perspective, creativity, resourcefulness. And so we can train our mind to shift out of that negative reactive space into a positive, more proactive, resourceful space. That's also the part of your brain where you can be self-aware, where you can notice the programs and the patterns that you're running and go, interesting. Let's create some choice around that. So, how do we do that? We do that by training core muscles. And if you imagine every single time you get hijacked and you're reactive, all you do is you notice it, you go, aha, I'm being sabotaged, right? And then you decide to switch to this part of your brain. And from there, you use that muscle. What can I do that will be most helpful? So, how do we switch from this part of our brain, right, to the other part? How do we go from being sabotaged to being sage, if you will? So, with mental fitness, we train people to use their body as a vehicle to switch off the overthinking mind. And when you switch off the overthinking mind, you have access to intuition, to logic, to everything. So, what they do is, will everybody be watching this, Elena, or will they be listening?
Yeah, watching, yeah, we do
Watching.
record.
Okay. Maybe I can show them how this works. All right.
Okay.
We're going to switch everyone's brain from back of the brain to here to the sage brain. And I'm going to ask you to be my guinea pig. Is that okay?
Yes, of
Right.
course.
So I want you to watch my hands, in particular this hand. And I promise there is no way you can do this wrong. And I'm not going to jump out at you, or there's not going to be any scares. All you need to do is follow this hand. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go. That's it. Stop. Okay. So in that moment there, what was the quality of your mind?
I was focused on your hand, so I didn't think about anything else.
Right? There was no conversation, no chatting.
No, because
Right.
all focus was on the hand.
Brilliant. So essentially, your mind was focused on the hand, it was focused in the moment. There was no talk. You weren't thinking about the future or the past. You were in the present. How
Yes.
long did that take us?
Immediately. We can just
Immediately.
immediately. Yeah.
Right? So here's the tip that I'm going to share with everybody. If you want to stop your overthinking mind or your over volatile heart where you're constantly reacting, and if you want to get into the present moment and deal with whatever is in front of you, and incidentally, you're more likely to feel joy because joy can only be experienced when you're embodied in the moment, is you use your body as the vehicle to just get out of your head, right? Without having to use alcohol or drugs or other numbing things. We used your sight sense just then, right? You were looking, but you can also use your auditory, really concentrating. What can I hear in the far distance or the near distance? This one I love because I'm quite a tactile person. Rub your thumb and forefinger together very gently so that you can feel. We can try this now. You know this because it's a mental fitness technique, right? And as you rub your thumb and forefinger together, you're aiming to feel all of the fingertip ridges. And as you concentrate deeply on this, you're brought into the present moment. So I love this because I can meditate for an hour in the morning and I can be completely zen, but I will have something that will come up during the day and I will find myself reacting. And I need something snackable that will switch me out of that sabotage mode and get me into the moment. And this one will do it. It's that pattern interrupt that I talked about, not that this. And when you're in the present moment, then you've got the space to go, what would be the most constructive thing for me to do right now? What would be the better belief? What program have I just noticed running there? And what would I like to do to change that?
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yes, it is really good techniques, and you can do it everywhere. It's just even in the meeting, you can drop your fingers and just touch your
Yeah.
fingers and palms and just move hands and feel sensation. This is how you switch to left brain. Yes, it is amazing techniques. Everybody can do this, and yes, see big shift, see big shift, and become more conscious and become more present and aware of thoughts and situations, and we can control everything. We can control everything if we learn when we learn how.
We can control how we show up and react to everything. And if the world outside is our perception, that's how we can change everything. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And we can give meaning. Yes, whatever happens outside, it is we again who choose which meaning we want to give to that situation. And it's up to us. Our conscious mind can accept or can reject. So if we don't like something, we just can reject and give meaning which we want to have. And this is how we will protect ourselves, not being hijacked with emotions.
Beautifully put, 100%.
Yes, thank you so much, Georgina. So, before we wrap up this episode, what would be one advice which you would give to driven business owners and entrepreneurs from your perspective?
Just one piece of advice?
You
Okay.
can give more. You can give more.
Oh,
Yes.
you talked about dreaming earlier. I think the power of dreams is amazing because imagination is always stronger than the will. So take time to visualize, as you say. And if you're not a visual person, imagine in whatever way that works for you. Allow it to yourself to see it, hear it, feel it. Notice the impact that you're having, and always remind yourself of why you're doing it, right? And then bring that back to the moment because you've just trained your mind to say, this is what I want. Rather than forcing, you're allowing your imagination to schedule it in because your brain doesn't like the gap between what you've just imagined and reality. And it will find ways for you to notice opportunities. It will find ways for you to use your logic and your intuition to get there. So, imagination, I would say, is very, very important. And then, if I can, another one, trust yourself. Go
Mhm.
in and listen to that voice. There will be lots of shouty voices. Use the techniques that we've just shared to quieten your mind, and then go in and listen to the voice that whispers, not the ones that shout.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for these great tips. Yes, and what also it reminded me about a quote that imagination can take you from A to B. Oh, sorry, logic can take you from A to B, and imagination can take you everywhere.
That's lovely. Yeah,
Yes. When
100%.
we focus on logic, we can only take ourselves what is within our logic, and logic is only based on our past experience. It means that there is no growth in being logical. But intuition and imagination can take us everywhere. We we also the part of success is faith. We have to believe in ourselves that we are capable, that we can do that, what we want, and also have faith, because it is not everything that is only in this 3D reality. There are invisible forces which we don't know. It is not discovered yet, but if we have faith, it is in every religion, every success. You have to have faith, and this is how you imagine yourself. Yes, these techniques which all athletes do, like world champions do, they visualize themselves winning that game. Yes, that holding that gold medal. They visualize themselves before they physically participate in competition.
Mm.
So before they physically participate, they already won so many times in their imagination. Their muscle already trained because there were so many experiments when people were doing training physically and people were doing this training in their imagination. So the muscle do the same work as physical training.
Yep.
So in order to visualize yourself winning, it can be winning everything, not only sport competition. It can be winning the meeting, winning negotiations. Yes, in every area of our life, winning maybe conversation with loved ones or whatever. Yes, like when we want the best for our family and we want them to believe in that idea, right? So it can be everything. So in order to visualize winning winning, we have to have faith, and faith is so important. It is beyond our physical reality. We have to believe in ourselves. We have to have faith in God, or whoever like wants to believe in supreme power, in universal intelligence. There are forces which are beyond our 3D reality, and when we are aligned with the universal laws, when we are aligned with our big goals and dreams, and when we have faith, this is how we win.
It's incredible, isn't it? When you help people to visualize things and despite all odds, it happens in the best way possible. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah. And it
Yes.
doesn't mean never having obstacles, but having the conviction that you can handle them and doing so. Yeah.
Yes, there is a good book, Obstacle is the Way.
Obstacles. Yeah. Do you know what? I've just ordered that.
You see?
Yeah. Yeah. I've studied so many different spiritual paths. I'm thinking, well, Stoicism, haven't done that yet. Yeah.
You see, so everything is aligned. Everything is aligned. Even we are together in this interview, it is all happens for the reason.
Yeah.
This is everything what we discuss is so tuned, yes, like orchestra, like we are different instruments, but in our conversation, we are like one instrument, right? Like one mind, because we are one mind. Different impression as it is like one sun, and people can get warmth and sun in different countries, but this is all one sun and all mind. And I really appreciate, Georgina, you being amazing guest today on our podcast. I'm wishing you all the best and looking forward to see you again.
Thank you, Elena. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye for now.